And Mr. Asthana, good morning. Thank you for joining us. First, can you break the importance of the news for us? Indonesia accounts for nearly one-third of the total palm oil exports, at least in the region. And the fact that Indonesian government has decided to ban palm oil exports, how will this impact a company like Ruchi Soya?
So Indonesian palm exports are a challenge, and clearly in the short run we'll have to see that how long they continue and persist with it. But for the moment, in terms of supply chain part of it, on immediate basis, I see no impact because there are adequate stocks and purchases that we have. Even the industry has adequate purchases. But I think in the longer term, we'll have to see that how long this lasts and what is the impact going to be on the supply chain side.
This ban goes beyond a quarter, beyond 3 months. Is it possible for for a company like Ruchi Soya to find an alternative?
See, there is very little flexibility in terms of finding an alternative. There are other origins. For example, the soya is a very large sort of exports in the world, soya oil, which is both from South America as well as from North America. But the flexibility in supply chains where the origins are concerned is rather limited. So I would say that palm oil from Indonesia will have to get restarted pretty soon. Otherwise, it will have an impact across the board for several companies.
And I'm guessing, Sanjeev, that impact first and foremost would be a price hike if indeed the glut really continues from Indonesia.
So there were some reactions. What we saw, at the Chicago, where the market was up on Friday, because this was announced on Friday evening. We are waiting for the markets to commence trading today. I think by evening it will be pretty much clear as to how much of this news has been priced in the market. But certainly, I would say the bias is towards bullish trend on the edible oil prices.
Right, Mr. Asthana, I just wanted to understand, you were talking about if this continues for a long period of time, it will certainly have an impact. So what would be the outlook? You spoke of price hikes, and what could be the material impact then on your margins?
So margins for us is not the issue because edible oils typically is a more a pass-through sort of process. So in the short term for next quarter, we don't anticipate any challenge at all because we're adequately covered, with the imports and supply chain has been established. The question is that how does it run going forward? And I'm reasonably certain that some solution will be found, because the world, Indonesia out of the equation for the palm oil supplies will be a big challenge, and I think there should be some rational solution to the entire export ban, and which should come sooner than later because Europe is dependent to a large extent. Palm oil is the largest exported oil in the world, and the world depends on palm oil very substantively. A range of industries and food inflation being what it is, so there are a lot of policy options which the government of Indonesia can explore. Including the mandate on the biodiesel, what they have was 30% inclusion in the diesel, looking at the export taxes. So once the situation normalizes there, I think thereafter Indonesia has enough and more oil to supply to the world. It is just a temporary the challenge which suddenly emerged on account of the oversupplies perhaps or the local inflation. So sooner than later, we will find solutions because Indonesia needs to export and the world needs that oil. So I think that rebalancing of the supply chain would emerge soon. That's my expectation.
So Mr. Asthana, you're basically saying do not panic at all, that there should be some solution. I asked this because more than 60% of India's edible oil needs is actually met via exports.
So Indonesia is almost about 50% of the palm oil imports that we do in the country, and which is about between 250 to 300,000 tons, and certain months about 350,000 tons. In an overall import consumption of our country of about 2 million tons plus a month. So that's about 10 to 12% impact. My sense is that these bans typically do not last for long because they're a response to the inflationary situation within the country. the supply tends to very quickly pick up, within a 10-15 day kind of a lag. So hopefully this should not be an extended ban, and we should see a resolution pretty soon on this front.
So what happens in this quarter? I mean, are we in for a big inventory gain for Ruchi Soya? Ultimately, it's a listed stock, so I'm just trying to understand which way the puck is going to move. While oil prices may go higher in the short term, but like you said that you have enough and more inventory and prices will go higher. So are you likely to see a huge inventory gain?
There should be some inventory gain, and as I mentioned that we're waiting for the markets to evolve because a lot of it was already priced in. The export ban part of Indonesia, we'll have to see during the course of next 1 or 2 days or this week itself. I think will give us a direction and a cue as to what is the level of spike in the prices, and if there is going to be inventory gain. Whether it's substantial or less, I cannot speculate. But we will see that, over next 1 week, it should give us an idea. But yes, from the perspective of any player which typically operates from the long-only position, which has got supply chain built up, it should be beneficial to the company.
Mr. Asthana, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Now, we also